Donna Mills was never just a television actress. She was one of the rare faces of her generation who could make an entire frame freeze with a single glance. And then, with calm authority, change the entire game without saying a word. From a Chicago girl who dreamed of becoming a dancer to the queen of power, Abby Cunningham in Knots Landing, Donna Mills shattered the mold of the damsel in distress to become the embodiment of a woman who writes her own script. Donna's professional voice was never loud, but always decisive. She turned her signature cat-eye makeup, padded shoulders, and voluminous hair into the power face of the 1980s, a visual language that forced American television to rethink how it saw women: intelligent, strategic, seductive, and fiercely ambitious. On set, she didn't just play Abby, she defined her. Off-screen, Donna Mills walked away from the peak of her fame to produce the story she wanted to tell, a bold move in an era when Hollywood still handed the pen to men. For over half a century, she stood firm between light and shadow, turning both smiles and heartbreak into art. But every light comes with its price. Behind those powerful roles were long nights alone, unfulfilled romances, and silences so deep they became her only companions. She never married, adopted a daughter at 54 as a way to save herself from emptiness, and returned to the screen at 80, a bittersweet declaration that talent has no expiration date. Let us retrace that dazzling yet difficult journey to understand why Donna Mills is not merely a name in television history, but a living testament to freedom, strength, and female agency in a world that has always tried to define women. Because sometimes, to remain true to yourself, you must give up the very things that could have made life less lonely. Donna Jean Miller was born on December 11, 1940 in Norwood Park, a quiet suburb in northwest Chicago, where children grew up to the sound of trains and sunlight streaming through wooden shutters. She was the youngest in her family, with an older brother, Donald, 10 years her senior. Because of that distance, Donna grew up mostly alone, surrounded by the silences of adults. Her father, Ambrose, worked for Union Oil, strict, punctual, never one to laugh too loudly. Her mother, Bernice, was a typical homemaker of the era. But Donna remembered vividly that whenever her mother worked shifts at the telephone exchange, she came home brighter, her eyes alive, her voice full of stories, her laughter freer. That's when Donna learned an unspoken truth. A woman only truly lives when she has freedom and a voice of her own. The world inside that little house wasn't wide, nor was it kind. Both her parents were conservative, sometimes even harsh. Donna once described it as a bigoted environment, a place where only Germans, Swedes, or Poles were acceptable. And it was from within that narrowness that she learned how not to become one of them. As a child, Donna was a tomboy. She loved speed skating, climbing trees, and running in the sun more than sitting indoors playing with dolls. She even won a few small medals, though she rarely showed them off. At the age of 5, she began ballet lessons, nurturing a dream of becoming a dancer. That grace would later become her cinematic language, every gesture on screen deliberate, rhythmic, and proud. During her years at Taft High School, Donna studied alongside Jim Jacobs, the man who would later write Grease. He once said the sweet yet unpredictable character of Sandy was inspired by her. A girl who seemed gentle, yet whose eyes held something no one could quite grasp. And indeed, Donna never fit any mold. Once, during a class discussion about racial segregation in the South, she stood up and asked, "Before we judge anyone, has anyone in this class ever had a black friend?" The room fell silent. That question didn't come from a child, but from someone who already understood that justice never happens by accident. At the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, Donna joined the Delta Gamma sorority, but stayed only a year. She studied to please her parents, then realized it wasn't her path. When she grew close to a Jewish boy, her mother became so furious she cut off all contact. That small incident became a turning point. The moment Donna understood that the greatest danger to a woman isn't making mistakes, but living by someone else's rules. Later, when her mother passed away and her father remarried, the distance within the family grew even wider. Donna chose silence. No rebellion, no pleading. Yet that silence marked the beginning of something profound. The birth of her independence. She wasn't born into an artistic family. Her career was built step by step, with sweat, rejection, and tears. The story of Donna Mills began with the sound of ballet shoes tapping against wooden floors. At 5 years old, the little girl from Chicago dreamed of becoming a ballerina, graceful, precise, perfect to every beat. But reality had sharper edges. After 1 year at the University of Illinois to please her parents, Donna realized she couldn't live a safe life. She dropped out, left home, and joined summer stock theater companies, where she learned to endure the cold, the hunger, and the sting of rejection. Then fate intervened. A casting notice for "Come Blow Your Horn" pulled her back from the edge of disappointment. She had never acted before, but she auditioned anyway. And when the audience laughed at her line, something clicked. That night, Donna realized if she couldn't dance, she could still make an entire room move. Through acting. From the Chicago stage, she was cast in the touring production of My Fair Lady, a one-way ticket to New York. On that train ride, Donna made herself a promise. I will never live as someone's background. By day, she worked as a secretary at Popular Mechanics. By night, she lined up for auditions alongside hundreds of girls who looked just like her. Once, when she asked where the dressing room was, no one even answered. I was completely invisible, she recalled. But one manager saw her potential and changed her name from Donna Jean to Donna Mills. Short, sharp, with the metallic ring of a name built to survive Hollywood. Her first roles came from commercials, then from The Secret Storm, 1966, where Donna played Rocket, a lounge singer in shimmering dresses and platinum hair. Nervous but determined, she stepped into the light. Director Gloria Monty trusted her because she had something soft yet steely. Soon after, Love Is a Many-Splendored Thing cast her as Sister Cecilia, a nun in a live broadcast, shot without retakes. Donna learned to stay calm under dozens of staring eyes, to act as if no one was watching. Together with co-star Leslie Charlson, she even negotiated her own primetime appearances, a bold move almost unheard of for women at the time. Then doors began to open fast. Broadway with Woody Allen's Don't Drink the Water, television fame through The Bold Ones, 1972, and the first same-sex kiss ever aired on American TV. A scene Donna accepted without hesitation. I'm an actress, she said. I can play any role. But Hollywood was not all light. An ABC executive once told her flatly, women can't carry a show. And one so-called audition with cartoonist Al Cap turned into a nightmare. She ran out in tears, vowing never to stay silent again. From that day forward, Donna learned how to say no, and to say it loudly. Step by step, she left behind her dream of ballet and forged a new path. She wasn't the chosen one from the start. But somehow, through grit, endurance, and the instinct to adapt, she found her way in, and she stayed. In 1971, Donna Mills starred alongside Clint Eastwood in Play Misty for Me, a psychological thriller that marked her film debut and opened the door to Hollywood. But after that early success, her movie career didn't take off. She was sent back to television, where she was cast again and again as the victim, threatened, chased, or tied up, women without resistance or power. She began to grow weary. I didn't want to be the woman who was always tied up in a dark room or screaming in the woods, Donna once said. She understood that if she wanted change, she had to do something radically different. In 1979, she heard that a new character was being developed for the TV series Knots Landing, a woman of influence, intelligence, and complexity. Donna knew instantly it was her chance. The problem? The producers didn't want her. To them, Donna Mills was a good girl type, unfit for a manipulative role. She insisted on auditioning, and she got the part. Abby Cunningham entered Knots Landing in its second season. And from that moment, the show's trajectory changed completely. Within 2 years, ratings had skyrocketed by more than 50%, lifting the series from obscurity to one of CBS's biggest hits of the early 1980s, averaging over 20 million viewers per episode, rivaling Dallas and Dynasty. But the numbers only told part of the story. Abby was the seductive queen of California suburbia, with her thick hair, razor smile, and cold ability to read the board of power. The show's most watched episodes revolved around her, seducing married men, flipping courtroom battles, smiling through scandals, and always winning. Abby didn't cry. She didn't collapse. She calculated, and she controlled. The character redrew the blueprint of women on American television. She didn't need to be loved, only respected. Behind the scenes, Donna Mills didn't just play Abby, she defined her. During Wednesday script readings, actors were allowed to contribute ideas, and Mills became the moral compass for the character. When writers proposed having Abby involved in the kidnapping of Val's twins, she flatly refused. Abby is a mother, she would never do that. The script was changed. Mills also pushed to move Abby out of her brother's old garage business and into the corporate world, a shift that elevated both the glamour and the stakes of the storyline. One unforgettable image cemented Abby's legacy, calmly burying Peter Hollister in her chic dress and tailored jacket, not a speck of dirt on her. That composure amid chaos became iconic. The sharp cat-eye makeup? Mills drew it herself every morning, crafting it into the visual symbol of power. Abby's influence extended far beyond television. Women wrote letters thanking Donna for making them feel stronger. Men, meanwhile, kept their distance. At an event, one wife even pulled her husband away, whispering that she didn't want Abby to do what she does on TV. Her co-stars respected her deeply. Joan Van Ark admitted to feeling chills the first time she met Abby. Ted Shackelford called Mills a day at the beach. Precise, professional, focused. William Devane confessed he always had to stay sharp to keep up with her quiet intensity. For Mills herself, Abby was armor. I learned confidence by living with her every day. Even after leaving the show after 9 seasons and returning for the finale, Mills never let go of the role. If Knots Landing were ever revived, she said she'd come back instantly, even pitching a storyline where Abby, now homeless, claws her way back to power, and her eyeliner would still be perfect. Donna had completely shattered her old good girl image and replaced it with something fierce and enduring. Abby Cunningham wasn't just a role, she was a statement of feminism, ambition, and self-determination, both on and off the screen. Outside of acting, Donna personally did all her own makeup, a rare choice among television stars of that era. Distrusting the studio's makeup team, she crafted Abby Cunningham's look with meticulous care. Bold cat eyes, sharp blush lines, high-volume hair, and broad-shouldered silhouettes. Every morning, she spent over an hour in front of the mirror, painting the face of power, not to look prettier, but to create an intentional visual identity. Through Donna's hands, Abby's face became a visual language, one that spoke of precision, control, and unshakable confidence. That image quickly became an aesthetic symbol for women of the 1980s. From TV Guide and People to Soap Opera Digest and Vogue, magazines published detailed tutorials on how to do your makeup like Donna Mills. Soap Opera Digest even launched a dedicated column called The Abby Look, teaching readers how to create cat eye liner and sharp cheekbones in the style of the Queen of Knots Landing. People magazine described Donna as the woman who taught American women to be sharp, starting with their makeup. Across the United States, salons began advertising the Abby look, while Vogue ranked her among the decade's power faces, alongside Joan Collins, those women whose presence could command a room without ever raising their voices. By then, Donna Mills was no longer just an actress. She had become a cultural icon, a woman who turned makeup into a weapon and a television character into a declaration for an entire generation. After 9 seasons on Knots Landing, with her name still among the most recognized on American television, Donna shocked everyone by walking away, not because she was out of roles or tired of fame, but because she wanted to reclaim authorship of her own story. "I'd lived long enough in a world where other people wrote my lines," she said. "It was time I wrote them myself." Donna founded her own production company, a daring move for a woman in early 1990s Hollywood. From that point on, she was not just the actress, but also the producer and creative decision-maker, the kind of authority that until then only a few women like Barbra Streisand or Jane Fonda had attained. In Runaway Father, 1991, Donna portrayed a single mother traveling across America in search of the husband who abandoned her, a true story that had once shocked the nation. A year later, In My Daughter's Name, 1992, took her into even darker territory, a mother avenging her daughter's murder. Gone was the cool, immaculate beauty of Abby Cunningham. Here was a raw, grief-stricken woman, forcing audiences to confront the thin line between justice and revenge. Both films earned solid ratings and frequent reruns on cable television, a sign that audiences were still following her, even outside the primetime spotlight. But for Donna, the real victory wasn't in numbers. It was in ownership. Every project was her choice, her investment, and her responsibility. No studio oversight. No executive dictating the narrative. "I've never been poor," she once said, "but I've always kept an eye on every penny. That's how I was raised. No matter how much I earn, I save a lot." That discipline and clarity allowed Donna Mills to endure in an industry where so many peers stumbled. No scandals, no bankruptcies, no need to play anyone but herself. And if Abby Cunningham once taught the world that women could wield power in fiction, Donna Mills proved they could do it in real life. In 2015, more than 4 decades after she began her career, Donna made a stunning return to the screen in General Hospital and won a Daytime Emmy Award for her role as Nina's mother, a mysterious, intelligent woman with quiet authority. For younger viewers, it was their first glimpse of her. For those who grew up with Knots Landing, it was déjà vu, the return of Abby Cunningham, calmer and wiser, but still formidable. Before that, Donna had already won 3 Soap Opera Digest Awards for Outstanding Villainess, 1986, 1988, 1989, her Knots Landing peak years. But the Emmy was something different, not just a reward for a role, but for resilience. Decades later, when most of her contemporaries had retired, Donna Mills still had the strength to come back and triumph in a new arena at an age when Hollywood usually turns its back. Few can say they were once an icon, then left quietly, only to return and make the world applaud again. But Donna Mills did, and when she stepped onto that stage to accept her award, her eyes, still glinting with that same steel from years past, seemed to remind everyone of an old truth. Beauty fades. Strength never does. Donna Mills, beautiful, alluring, and yet never married. But that doesn't mean she never loved. Love came to her late, came slowly. But when it did, it always marked a turning point. In her younger years, Donna experienced several relationships. Some were fleeting, some lasted longer, but in the end, none endured. One of her earliest known romances was with film producer Alan Adler. Intelligent, charming, yet lacking the emotional connection deep enough to last. Then came actor Vic Valario, who captivated Donna with his looks and artistic passion, but their relationship too eventually faded when they realized they weren't walking toward the same future. The most significant chapter, however, was her nearly 2-decade-long relationship with Richard Holland, the ex-husband of singer Chaka Khan, an advertising executive, producer, and father to a young son named Damien. They met in Mexico in the late 1970s, both nursing private heartbreaks. Holland was drawn to Donna's smile, soft yet assured, while Donna, already in her 30s, wasn't looking for fiery passion anymore, just someone who could talk to her and quiet her loneliness. The love came naturally, but it was never simple. They were opposites to the core. Donna lived fast, worked tirelessly, always chasing goals. Holland freely admitted he was the kind of man who could do nothing for 3 months and feel fine. He once said, "I'm just not as driven as Donna," a gentle confession that exposed the deep mismatch between their worlds. The media, as always, wasn't kind. Many labeled him a gold digger, suggesting he lived off his famous girlfriend. But Donna pushed back sharply. Some people treated Richard as if he were nobody. They'd hand him my umbrella and expect him to run off and put it away. I started telling them exactly where they could put it. She defended him fiercely, even knowing the public wasn't on her side. "I knew people didn't like him," she said, "but I didn't let that affect me. What made this relationship remarkable wasn't their differences. It was how Donna embraced his past. She cared for Damien, Richard's son, as if he were her own. Whenever the boy stayed with them, Donna prepared a separate room, bought him his own things, even cooked his favorite meals. She wanted him to feel like part of a family, not an outsider. It was an early glimpse of her maternal instinct, long before she ever became a mother. They broke up and reunited more than once over nearly 20 years. Richard was the first man Donna ever allowed to move in with her. Not a small decision for a woman as independent as she was. They redecorated their $1.5 million Los Angeles home together, trying to build something lasting. But the same divide remained. Donna thrived on control. Richard preferred to drift. And though love lingered, they could never bridge the gap between their two tempos of life. They never married and had no children together, by choice. Donna simply never believed in traditional marriage. In the 1998 documentary Intimate Portrait, she admitted, "I never dreamed about it. As a little girl, I liked dolls, but I never thought about bride dolls. I never pictured myself as a bride or a wife." She explained that her upbringing had shaped this view. "I saw my mother completely dependent on my father. It didn't make her happy. And I told myself, if I want to be happy, I have to be in charge of my own life." By the late 1990s, Donna and Richard quietly parted ways. She didn't blame him, nor did she deny what they'd shared. In a later interview, when asked if she regretted anything, Donna simply smiled. "No, I think he came into my life exactly when I needed him." A few years after her breakup, at the age of 54, Donna Mills made a life-changing decision. She would become a mother. At the time, she was at the height of her career, starring in films, producing projects, and recognized in nearly every American household. Yet deep down, something was missing. "I realized I had everything, except a child," Donna recalled. So she adopted a baby girl, just 4 days old, and named her Chloe. The decision sent shockwaves through the media. Many criticized her for being too old to raise a child, saying she wouldn't be able to keep up with one. But Donna ignored it all. Her maternal instinct had awakened, stronger than any career ambition. She stepped away from Hollywood entirely for 18 years. No films, no press tours, dedicating every day to raising Chloe, from her first words to her first day of school. "I didn't want my child to grow up with a nanny," she said. "I wanted to be the one to take her to school, to read her bedtime stories, to be there every night." And she did exactly that. Today, Chloe is a model, influencer, and member of Soho House, California, with over 14,500 Instagram followers and is currently dating musician Bailey Joshua. But to Donna, Chloe will always be that 4-day-old baby, the unshakable source of her happiness. The two remain inseparable, meeting every week, dancing together on Mother's Day, sharing every moment as if time itself had stood still. Having a daughter taught Donna how to slow down. For the first time in decades, she wasn't working 18-hour days or transforming into someone else under heavy makeup. And in that quiet chapter of her life, at 60, she met the man she would later call the late piece of my life, Larry Gilman. Larry was an actor, producer, and acting coach, known for his work in Cool Hand Luke, The Woman in Red, and Final Destination. He wasn't famous, wasn't flashy, and that's exactly what drew Donna in. Before I met him, I liked bad boys, she laughed. But when I met Larry, I knew I'd found someone who didn't need to prove anything. They began dating in 2001, and over 20 years later, they're still together, longer than most marriages in Hollywood. Yet, they've never married. Donna has held fast to her lifelong belief in independence. I'm very independent. I've always made my own money, and no one has ever supported me. I like it that way. In a 2023 interview, she said candidly, "We're not married, but it's as if we are. Why bother?" What Donna cherishes most about Larry, she says, is that he isn't threatened by her strength. "Wealthy men have never attracted me," she told Oprah, "because they have the power. I want to have the power, and Larry lets me. I finally found a man who gives me space, a voice, and it doesn't diminish his own." The couple now live in Brentwood, California, in a sunlit home surrounded by lush greenery. Behind their house stands a large hillside, one that Donna initially objected to planting with grapevines. "I told him he was crazy. The vines would destroy the hill," she laughed. "It was one of the few times we argued, but luckily he didn't listen." The vines grew strong, holding the soil together, and eventually became a thriving vineyard, Mandeville Vineyards. "Now we have our own wine," Donna smiled, "and it's beautiful." In a Closer Weekly interview in 2015, when asked about the most romantic thing Larry had ever done, Donna smiled softly. "He planted an entire vineyard for me. He's truly a good man." After 2 decades together, they still have no wedding rings, no contracts, no formal ties beyond love itself. And perhaps that's why they've never had to break anything apart. "I want someone in my life to love, to walk with, to share things with," Donna once said. "But if I had to, I could always take care of myself." At 80, while others think of retirement, Donna Mills keeps working, keeps acting, and every evening, she and Larry raise a glass of wine from their own vineyard. No vows, no paperwork. Just the quiet certainty that for the past 20 years, they've both chosen to stay. Another aspect that continues to fascinate audiences is her beauty. Even at 80, Donna Mills looks remarkably youthful, her skin smooth, her eyes bright, and her aura seemingly untouched by time. But what truly sets her apart isn't the fact that she maintained her looks, it's the honesty with which she talks about it. On the April 21st episode of the podcast, We're Not Done Yet, the 3 stars of Knots Landing, Joan Van Ark, Michelle Lee, and Donna Mills, reunited to openly discuss cosmetic surgery during their time on the show. Not to brag, not to deny, but to finally address what audiences had always wondered. How did they manage to look so natural? Michelle Lee, now 82, admitted she had her eyes done at 40, and just 6 days later, she was sitting next to the CBS chairman at a dinner party, where no one noticed a thing. Donna smiled and teased. "And did you have to wear bandages?" Lee laughed. "No, I still looked fabulous." The two burst out laughing like old friends reminiscing with confidence and humor about a time when appearance was both armor and pressure. When it was Donna's turn, she spoke candidly. When I was in my 40s, during Knots Landing, I had a little facelift. Just a minor one, but enough to keep me looking young a bit longer. And I haven't done anything since. I think it's best to do it at the right time. And then stop. When you get older, your skin loses elasticity, and if you overdo it, you lose yourself. She recalled that back then, the show's makeup artists often had to skillfully cover small bruises or swelling with clever blending techniques. There was no social media, no behind-the-scenes photo scandals, only quiet solidarity among women trying to survive in an industry notoriously cruel to aging. Ironically, after years of fierce on-screen rivalry, Donna Mills and Michelle Lee are now close friends. They laughed as they recounted how they once clashed during the early days of filming, Michelle being too controlling and Donna refusing to be pushed. "I told her, 'Don't push me. If you want something, just say it, but don't force it,'" Donna recalled. From that moment on, they cleared the air, and their honesty became the foundation of a friendship that has lasted for decades. Now, in her 80s, while many try to hide their age, Donna Mills has turned honesty into her greatest strength. She doesn't deny having had cosmetic work done, but she refuses to let it define her. To her fans, she remains a symbol of a generation of women who know their boundaries and who stay beautiful by knowing when to stop. "Don't do too much," Donna said. "If you do too much, it gets ugly, and it gets scary." Simple words, yet they embody the philosophy Donna Mills has lived by her entire life: control, balance, and knowing when to stop. Across more than 6 decades, Donna Mills has been far more than just a television face. She has been a living statement of female agency in the entertainment world. At a time when Hollywood confined women to narrow roles, the victim, the wife, the pretty ornament, Donna chose to become the player. She stepped onto the board not to be moved, but to move the pieces herself. Abby Cunningham, her legendary Knots Landing character, didn't just captivate millions of viewers. She redefined what women on American television could be: intelligent, alluring, calculating, and unapologetically so. In an era when female villains were meant to be despised, Donna made Abby loved, admired even, for her courage to live on her own terms. Through Abby, an entire generation of women learned that power doesn't come from being loved, but from being respected. Her influence went far beyond the screen. The Abby look, bold cat eyeliner, sculpted cheeks, and voluminous hair, became a defining beauty trend of the 1980s. From People to Vogue, everyone called it the power face. But beneath the makeup lay something far more enduring: a professional legacy that showed women could be strong, in control, and still utterly feminine. When Donna walked away from Knots Landing at the peak of her fame to start her own production company, she became one of the first women in Hollywood to move behind the camera, to choose scripts, fund them herself, and lead from the front. Projects like Runaway Father and In My Daughter's Name were more than successful TV dramas. They were declarations that women could tell their own stories without a man holding the pen. For younger generations, Donna Mills stands as a symbol of endurance and reinvention. Her return at 81 in Jordan Peele's Nope reminded Hollywood that talent has no expiration date. Only those who quit grow old. And when she won her Daytime Emmy in her 70s, she didn't just win an award. She defeated the industry's prejudice against age. In today's social media era, where image is often painted over authenticity, Donna Mills remains proof that controlling your image doesn't mean faking it. It means knowing exactly what you want the world to see. She has never overdone plastic surgery, never denied her age. Instead, she maintains a steady routine: tennis, meditation, and exercise 4 times a week. To thank my body for carrying me this far. The women who once grew up watching Knots Landing are now grandmothers, mothers, entrepreneurs. But whenever Donna Mills's name comes up, one word always returns: pride. Pride in being different. Pride in saying no. pride in choosing your own life, even when it costs you. And perhaps that is Donna Mills's greatest legacy of all. A generation of women who learned that power isn't about shouting louder. It's about knowing when to smile, stand tall, and walk away, with your head high and your eyeliner still perfect. At 84, Donna Mills no longer plays the victim on screen. She has become a timeless symbol of strength in real life. In an industry that once dismissed women past middle age without hesitation, she continues to appear in films, walk red carpets, and deliver talks that inspire, as if no one had ever told her, "You're too old for this." In 2023, she portrayed Lillian Cutler in Dawn, a Lifetime miniseries based on the novels of V.C. Andrews. A year earlier, she appeared in Jordan Peele's Nope, not as a legend making a comeback, but as living proof of one question. What does it mean to still be at the top of your game? Donna's secret isn't some miracle cure or hidden beauty ritual. She believes in only two things: discipline and the joy of living. "I'm not a superwoman," she told Fox News Digital, "but I always look at the big picture. I work out almost every day." She plays tennis 5 times a week, 2 hours each session. She has her own home gym with a Peloton bike, light weights, and a ballet bar, a habit rooted in her early love for ballet. Her diet is clean and simple: vegetables, lean protein, and absolute sun avoidance. At my age, sun protection isn't optional, it's mandatory. Despite battling arthritis and the occasional pain, Donna never stops moving. "This is when discipline really matters," she said. Her message is simple and powerful. Getting older doesn't mean you're finished. At 60, 70, you still have so much to give. Don't just sit down and say, "I'm done." Donna Mills is living proof of that truth. On her Instagram, Donna Mills, she regularly shares glimpses of her workouts, gardening, event appearances, and peaceful smiles in front of the camera. Not to hold on to fame, but to share a message. Age is not a limitation. It's the next chapter of freedom. Age isn't a reason to stop, she says. It's just another chapter, one where you get to keep writing your story. And what about you? Do you still believe there's time to begin again, no matter how old you are? In a Hollywood where fame so often demands compromise, Donna Mills never chose the easy road. She was never loud, never ostentatious, never one to chase trends, yet she dared to do what few women of her generation ever could: refuse marriage, adopt a child at 54, produce her own films, and decide for herself how she would appear before the camera. For more than 6 decades, Donna has proven that true power doesn't come from applause. It comes from standing firm in your own choices. She once said, "I will not live as someone's background." And indeed, she turned that line into a philosophy of life. In a world where most people choose safety, Donna Mills chose to turn away, to carve her own path. She never allowed age, public opinion, or limitation to define her worth. She let her actions and courage do that. Because in the end, the greatest freedom isn't being loved. It's having the right to choose your path without asking for permission. And what about you? If you stood at a crossroads in your own life, would you have the courage to take the bold road as Donna Mills once did? If you believe that the story of Donna Mills, the woman who dared to choose boldly and own her life, deserves to be heard and celebrated, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so we can continue uncovering the extraordinary journeys behind Hollywood's brightest lights. Thank you for watching until the end. And we'll see you in the next story, because every star carries a light that no one else can ever replicate.